Warm welcome to this lecture series on organizational behavior. We are in the chapter on attitudes, and this is our fourth section in this chapter. I'll quickly summarize what happened in the previous lectures. We defined what is meant by attitudes. We looked at the three components of attitudes. We also looked at the connection between attitudes and other related concepts like values, opinion, beliefs and ideology. We also looked at some of the characteristics of attitudes and how attitudes are formed, and also how attitudes can be measured. In other words, how psychology measures attitudes using different methods. We also looked at this idea of cognitive dissonance, and we discussed about why it is important to have cognitive dissonance. So cognitive dissonance is the uncomfortable tension which happens when you have two different viewpoints about the same issue, a person or an incident. We also looked at how to change attitudes. We looked at attitudes in workplace. We looked at two important workplace attitudes: job satisfaction and organizational commitment. We saw what are the factors which can cause job satisfaction, or how to improve job satisfaction of employees in workplace. Similarly, what is organizational commitment and why it is important. The third important, so this is where we stopped in the previous lecture. The third important attitude in workplace is attitude towards co-workers. So we are going to look at a specific case in this, which is prejudice. If you remember, we spoke about prejudice in our earlier chapter on perception. So prejudice is nothing but prejudgment. So even without knowing someone, we judge them based on certain superficial characteristics. So those characteristics can be the social group which they belong to, or the way they look at, the way they look and the way they speak, or it can also be based on the way they conduct themselves and things like that. So for example, if somebody is not very good in English, when you talk to them in English, their English skills are not very good. We assume that this person has very low level of academic qualification or capacity, academic capacity, which may not be true, because English is just a language skill, but technical skills or area expertise might be different. So this person might be very good in his or her area expertise, but may not be good in English. So many times we judge with superficial things. So this is what is called prejudgment. In workplace also, prejudgment plays a very serious role, or very important role in a negative way. Why? Because many of our management practices, especially human resource management practices like performance evaluation, recruitment and things like that, our perception plays a very important role. If you remember, in the perception chapter, we looked at the idea of glass ceiling effect, stereotypes, and how prejudice can affect women or minority group in terms of their performance rating or promotion opportunities and things like that. So that is why we should understand and try to remove prejudice from workplace. On the first hand, we should understand why prejudice happens in organizations. So prejudice happens in organizations when there are minority conditions, or there are groups, or there are people who are very few in number. In other words, the organization has most of them of a similar kind, or most of them from a similar group. For example, let's say engineering colleges. If you say certain departments of engineering colleges, you find most of the students are male students, or even faculty in certain areas, teachers in certain areas, in higher studies, you find many teachers are male teachers. There are very few female teachers. So when there are very few people from a certain particular social group, they are called as minorities in that organization. So if somebody is of a minority, they are considered to be different from the majority. So it doesn't matter, whether that difference is normal or abnormal. So if somebody is different from me, I tend to perceive them as someone who is abnormal. For example, let's say, in my culture, men don't wear certain kind of clothes. So in most cultures, men don't wear skirt. But let's say certain cultures, like in certain European cultures, men also wear skirts. Okay, for us it sounds very, very abnormal, because it's very few men who wear skirts, or in very few cultures men wear skirts. But let's say if you go to that culture, that particular country, and it's very normal to have men wearing skirts. Let's say for them, men wearing Indian attire like dhotis, for them it is abnormal because it is a minority condition. So what happens in organizations is, when the organization demography or the background of people in that organization in terms of age, socio-cultural background, or regional background, if most of them are from the same background, if very few people are from different background, they are considered to be minorities, and they are also considered to be abnormal. For example, if I have long hair in my class or among teachers, as a teacher, very few male teachers have long hair. So if I have long hair, I will be considered as a minority, and I will be considered as an abnormal person. So that leads to prejudice. The problem with prejudice is discrimination. If you look at someone as who's different from us or from you, we tend to discriminate them. Discriminate them means we will be biased against them in terms of certain privileges, in terms of resource allocation, or in terms of distribution of wealth and things like that, or even in organizational context, it must be promotions or performance appraisal and things like that. So we will have a negative attitude towards those people. So how to balance out, or how to remove prejudice from workplace? So prejudice is a very important aspect in social groups, especially in social psychology. Prejudice has been extensively studied. For example, prejudice on colored people in USA, or prejudice on women, prejudice towards minority groups. So these are like prejudice between two social groups. So these are like very important issues, because in social psychology the focus on these issues, because it can lead to social unrest, it can lead to conflict between two groups, or even if there are no conflicts, it is injustice on the minority group, towards the minority group. So in organizations, in order to create a fair culture, in order to create a culture where everybody is treated equally and fairly, we should remove this prejudice among people's mind. So how to do it? One, like I said, when the organization has most of them of a similar background, similar region background, language background, and age background, gender background, it can lead to bias, or it can lead to minority condition. So in order to reduce that, organizations should ensure that the organization has people of different backgrounds. So the demographic characteristics of employees in the organization should be diverse. If you many of the European and Western universities or even organizations, it is mandatory for them to have very diverse workforce. Diversity not necessarily in terms of race, gender, age, or socioeconomic background, but also in terms of sexual orientation, in terms of ethnicity and things like this. So if your organization has people of different cultural and gender and socioeconomic and ethnic backgrounds, it helps the organization. Not because it is a social responsibility, but diverse organizations are found to be more more creative, more more effective and more sustainable in nature. It's not just social responsibility. Many research have shown that organizations which are diverse are more successful, both financially and socially. So organizations should ensure, or the organization should have practices which ensure the diversity is managed well in the organization. Second way, or one way to manage diversity or bring in diversity in workforce is affirmative action plans. So in India we call them reservations. Affirmative action plans includes many things apart from reservation. So things like training minority groups so that they will also participate in workplace. So reservation usually involves having a certain kind of a quota within your employment or seats in colleges. But affirmative action plan is far beyond just reservation. You go to the society and train people of minority groups or groups which are disadvantaged and try to bring them to the organization. So why it is important to have multiple groups in the organization? Like I said, when there are majority of them of the same group, people will be very biased towards minority group. If everybody is there in the organization, there will be more tolerance. And also practices within the organization, if they are inclusive. Inclusive means they are friendly towards the needs of the minority groups. For example, women in workforce, women who have young children in the workforce. So having a play group or having a crush, child care center in the organization is mandatory in India for many organizations. So why are they doing it? To ensure that women of that particular need can also participate in the workforce without worrying too much about what will happen to the child, with a young child. Okay, so these are practices which are called diversity management practices. And also when you bring in minority groups or groups which are very few in number, people who are very few in number in the organization, the majority group may not be sensitive towards their needs. So they may not understand or they may not try to reach out to the minority group. So we need to create or conduct sensitivity programs. We need to teach the majority group members or even all the members about the differences between different social groups and how to be tolerant towards or be inclusive towards those differences. So like I said, it's very important to have diversity in workforce because it's not just social responsibility but also helps the organization in long run. Okay, so I'll stop here. So this is the end of the chapter, but I will show you a video on prejudice in terms of racial prejudice. So how two individuals who are of two extreme standpoints became friends, and that led to resolution of certain conflict between two different social groups. So many a times what happens is we don't actually we feel the other person is very different from us. Even without understanding at a deeper level there might be similarities. So only by superficial differences we tend to choose our friends. So which is not good in long run because we tend to be very closed. If you remember I've been talking about beliefs and ideology. So this particular video talks about all these issues.
So a black guy walks into a bar. Sounds like the beginning of a bad joke. I see people shifting around a little bit, but it gets better. And the first thing he sees is everybody else in there is white. So he sits down at the piano on the stage with the band to play,